Good morning, boys and girls. I have another science video today talking about the skeletal system. So we're going to hear a little bit more about what our bones are made of and some of the bones in our body. You ready? You sure you're ready? Well, let's get started on some facts about our skeletal system and our bones. Now, the skeletal system, as we talked about yesterday, is the supporting framework that gives your body shape, protects and anchors your delicate internal organs like your heart and lungs and your brain. And with your muscles, it enables your body to move. Now, without the skeletal system, you would not be able to stand, sit, walk, or run. The skeletal system consists of the 206 bones that together make up your skeleton and all of the connective tissue that holds those bones together. Other bones, such as some bones, like the skull, protects your body's internal organs. Other bones, such as the ones in your arm, work together to allow you to move. It's kind of stuck. There we go. Bones vary in shape and size. Each bone has the size and shape best suited to its particular job. So, as you can see, we've got larger bones like the pelvic bones and your skull bones, and some of the smallest teeny tiny ones we learned about in our sound unit because they're inside your ear. Now, the skeleton can be divided into two parts: the axial and the appendicular skeleton. Now, the axial skeleton consists of such bones as the skull and the ribs, the sternum, and the spinal column. Okay, so right around the top part of your body. The appendicular skeleton consists of the bones in the appendages. Going back to that one. These bones support the axis or the center of the body and protects the organs of the torso and the head. So basically, it's protecting those important organs right here, and it's like your torso, your main body. The appendicular skeleton, can you say appendicular? It's connected to that word appendix that we learned. So the appendicular skeleton is all of your appendages, like your legs and your arms are the extra things that come off of the main part of the body. So here's the main part of your body, the torso and the head, and then your appendages are your arms and legs that come off of it. So the femur, tibia, and fibula, which are found in your legs, are part of the appendicular skeleton. Femur, tibia, and fibula, which we're going to get into some of those details, and I'm going to have a picture for you all to look at and label the bones tomorrow. Now, about 70% of your bone is composed of minerals, primarily calcium, phosphorus, and sodium. Calcium is the mineral that makes your bones hard. Organic tissue, mainly the protein collagen, makes up the remaining 30% of your bone material. Now, bone may be compact, which is really dense, or cancellous, which is spongy and porous. So some bones are just hard, like a rock, and others are more spongy. Now, most bones consist of both types, with compact bone forming the outermost layer. And we heard about this a little bit yesterday as well, that there's marrow inside, remember? And that cancellous bone filling the interior. Bone marrow, which is responsible for producing most of your blood cells, including disease-fighting white blood cells, fills the porous space of some cancellous bone. Many people think of bones as being made only from inorganic or dead material. However, like muscles and your organs, bones are not dead. Bones are made partly of living materials and are able to grow. This is why broken bones are actually able to heal. And that's why as you get older, your bones actually grow. If bones were made solely of inorganic material, meaning it's not alive, broken bones could not actually heal and they would just stay broken forever. So your bones do actually heal and grow over time. Now I want you to gently touch the top of, touch your face and the top and back of your head. The bones you feel beneath your skin and hair make up the skull. You feel that, especially in your cheeks. You can feel it more in your jaw and right there at the top of your cheeks, feeling those bones. The skull is made up of a total of 22 bones. Now 14 of these, which include the jaw, the cheek, and nose bones, are called facial bones. They actually give shape to your face. The remaining 8 bones, felt beneath the forehead and the scalp, are collectively known as the cranium. So 22 bones all together through this. Uh-oh. There we go, Mr. Bones. But the cranium is that part underneath your hair. Now, the bones of the cranium surround and protect your body's most important organ, the brain. Now, passing your fingers from the back of your head to the top of your neck, feel the beginning of, what is it? Your spinal column. That's right. Can you all feel the little bumps as you move from your head down to that spinal column? You should be able to feel that. Now, the spinal column, which is made up of a chain of vertebrae, let me bring you a little closer to see this. A bunch of individual little pieces. So each of these is an individual bone. And we have that, you can feel it probably especially right around the back, lower back. Now, they surround and protect what's known as the spinal cord, which is the nerve bundle through which messages are sent to and from the brain and body. Now, the spinal column extends from the base or bottom of the skull all the way down to your bottom. There's even a little tailbone there at the very end, which we have as well. Humans have a tailbone at the very base of the spinal column. And it forms the main support of the skeleton. It enables you to stand straight and hold your head up high. It's responsible for your posture and movement of the upper torso. The adult spinal column has 33 bones called vertebrae. Each of the vertebrae is separated from the next one by a fibrous fluid-filled pad or cushion called a disc. If one of the discs slips out of place or breaks down, these nerves can be pressed on, pinched, or crushed, which can be very painful. This is called a slipped disc. So that happens occasionally, that people have that slipped disc so that it's basically bone on bone. That probably already sounds terrible, but also think of that nerve pinching, which would be very painful. But it's reparable. It's okay if something like that happens. They're able to fix it. Now, your ribs. Reaching your hands across your back, you can start feeling a series of rib bones, even in the back, extending from the spinal column, as well as 2 angular bones called scapulae, or your shoulder blades. All right, so we've got your rib bones extending around, and here's 1 scapula, 2 scapulae. Scapulae, I mean. So there's the scapula, and there's the rib bones. Now the scapula is a large, flat, triangular bone, and you've got 2 of them. You can feel that on the back too. And it helps to give the arms your flexibility. Now the ribs together, all of it known as the rib cage, because it looks like a cage, curves around the torso from your back to your chest, and it surrounds and protects your lungs and your heart. The ribs connect with the sternum or breastbone right here in the center of your chest. So there's the sternum, and then ribs extending from there, and that's the scapula in the back. Okay, so sternum, ribs, scapula. Now, resting your hands a little lower now on your hips, you will feel your pelvis. Can you feel that on yourself? Feel the pelvis, your hip bones. Now, the pelvic bones are large bowl-shaped bones that connect your legs to your axial skeleton. Now, the pelvis surrounds and protects your bladder and your large and small intestines. Now, in women, the pelvis also protects the reproductive organs to be able to have children, including developing fetuses, newborn babies, or almost born babies. Now, connected directly to the pelvis is the largest bone in your body. Do you know what it is? It's the femur, your top leg bone. This is the biggest bone in the body. So the point where two bones meet is called a joint. Oh, I thought we were going to get into the legs more, but we're going to get into the legs a little bit more later. But that femur is the biggest bone, but we do have other bones connected as well, like the tibia. All right. Now, the point where two bones meet, do you remember what that's called? Try a joint. Some joints give the skeleton flexibility. Without them, you would not be able to move. There are three major groups by which joints can be classified: immovable, partially movable, and movable. Immovable means not, are found where bones fit tightly together and movement between the bones is not possible. Now, the 22 bones that make up the skull meet at immovable joints. So you can't move one part of your head from the other, right? Except for the jaw. Partially movable joints are found where limited movement between bones is possible. Your ribs meet the breastbone at partially movable joints. You can, like when you're breathing, partially move. Now, movable joints are where movement between bones is easy, such as at the knee, right? Now, a layer of cartilage lines the end of bones that meet at movable joints. Cartilage, sometimes referred to as soft bone, is a tough, elastic tissue that helps prevent bones from grinding against each other. We need cartilage to protect those two bones as they move. Now, bursae, fluid-filled capsules that cushion the bones, can also be found at movable joints. Thick cords called ligaments surround those joints. So we've got joints and ligaments. Ligaments connect a bone to other bones or to cartilage. Ligaments support the joints and help control movement around the joint. They also help prevent injuries to bones, so those ligaments. Now, an X-ray is an electromagnetic wave that can be used to take an image of bone and some tissue. Actually, I'm going to stop there because I want to pull up pictures of, since it's hard to see this, ligaments. There's muscle, tendon, bone, ligament, more bone. Okay, so here's your muscle wrapped around the femur, the thigh bone. That is the biggest bone in your body, remember. Patella, that's the knee bone. And here's ligament that kind of stretches out, meniscus, cushioning it. And there's the other bone. So there's the ligaments. As you can see it a little better there. Here's also a good one. Okay, so you've got your femur, that's the leg bone itself, the cartilage there. and the tendon we were talking about. So all of that works together to really cushion the bones and allow them to move and be flexible. Okay, now X-rays. Now X-rays are electromagnetic waves that can be used to take an image of bone. Sorry, this comes apart so easily. There we go. And some tissue. X-rays pass through soft tissue relatively easily because the tissue is composed primarily of small atoms, including hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, and nitrogen, which are too simple to handle X-rays well. Bone absorbs X-rays because of its density and because it consists mostly of larger atoms, such as calcium and phosphorus, which are complicated enough to handle the X-rays effectively. Now, for this reason, X-ray waves see through soft tissue such as skin and muscle and can be used to take an image of and observe the condition of the bone. However, X-rays are able to image tissue to some extent and are useful in medical imaging of that tissue. With the help of a computer, many X-rays can be assembled together to give a cross-sectional picture of a person's tissue, a technique called CT scanning. So some of you might have had an X-ray taken before. Actually, at the dentist, probably most of you have had that, but also you might have had it if you've broken a bone before. Now, vertebrae. Now, it's kind of interesting to note that actually kids have more vertebrae than adults. Isn't that odd? 3 vertebrae at the bottom of the spine fuse together later in adulthood, so they formed one bone together. So it's not that it gets any bigger or any smaller, it just all meshes together. And it's the tailbone. So in adults, it's all together, but in kids, it's a bunch of separate little bones. The 5 vertebrae above the coccyx also fuse together in adulthood and form the sacrum. And most mammals have only 7 vertebrae in the neck. Exceptions include the manatee, the armadillo, and the sloth. They all have 9. The number of vertebrae varies in other vertebrate classes. Birds have as many as 18 neck vertebrae, which help to turn their heads almost completely behind their backs. So that's why it allows them to turn, like an owl, which we're going to be getting into soon. Reptiles also have as few as 5 and as many as 17 neck vertebrae. Okay, so that was just a little extra information about animals. So that is all for today. We're going to be taking a few notes, and then tomorrow I will have a skeleton for you guys to print off and label. So that will be a great thing to include in your notes so that you've got a good image of the skeletal system. Okay, that's all for now. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.